How rude. We're trying to have this review and you're just on your phone? Don't you know that manners maketh man?
Hello, and welcome back. So, we saw The Kingsman. And I did not expect this, but what I expected was, I'll probably like it, but I expected you to love it. What ended up happening was, you hate it, and I just kind of like it, like I thought. So, should we get in? Should we explain? Let's do a little bit of background. So, we both like the Kingsmen movies.
I love those movies. I adore those movies.
The second
so
one
good.
the second one is The Golden Circle. Came out a couple years ago.
I didn't care for that one as much as I liked the first one, but I still really liked it.
That's fair.
Yeah, those movies are great.
I kind of like them both the same. It's like, so let's set the tone a little bit. Tonally, they're it's James Bond and Jason Bourne, all this stuff turned up to 11, like to 11 stupid.
Take the old classic Bonds, put them in the modern era, and crank it up to 11. Like, just...
Yeah, it's ridiculous, it's zany,
You got the gadgets, you got the
insane gadgets.
Great Machiavellian villains.
Yeah, I mean, they're fighting robot dogs in the second one at a 50s diner, and he's got like a machine gun and a suitcase and all this.
And Elton John dragon kicks it out of your face.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And you're following Eggsy and, what is Colin Firth's name in that movie? What is he, Arthur? Or he's not Arthur.
Lancelot.
Lancelot. Right? Is he Lancelot? And you're following them around, and, is this kid from, like, the street.
Wait,
or
is he
whatever.
Lancelot or is he Galahad?
He's Galahad.
He's Galahad.
No, he's not. Wait, that's the, No, because that's Merlin.
The prequel movie sucks ass!
This movie committed the cardinal sin of a sequel or a prequel or a sequel of a reboot. It does not justify its existence.
Totally, it was a wreck.
Yes.
This movie, this episode's going to be a lot of me ranting and Alex laughing at me. This movie felt like it was written by a collection of 12-year-olds just writing in a loose-leaf notebook. Like, it was... They took all of the childish...
Fun?
Stuff... The fun childish stuff from the first two movies, and like smack you in the face with it. They're like, isn't this funny? Ah! And then 5 minutes later, you have a 20-minute long World War I epic where you're fighting in the trenches, and which that's another thing. Just this movie was all over the place. It didn't know what it wanted to be.
Yeah, it starts off as
so
like
frustrating. So frustrating.
It was really frustrating because it starts off... It's very, like, episodic, so it starts off with...
There were so many movies in this movie.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You have Ray Fiennes, who was like... Okay,
he's great.
He's awesome. Everybody did a good job.
Everybody did a great
They
job.
usually do a good job. We never seem to have a problem with anybody's performance and anything, but...
The writing was atrocious.
So what you're doing is you're getting like this drama of like, no, I'm a pacifist. My son will not go to war. I promised your mother. And then next thing you know is, well, we're going to go and we have to kill Rasputin because he's bad. So then they go to Rasputin, they go to Russia to do this thing, takes his son. And now it's like, now we need to be weird and creepy and disturbing.
That was the best part!
Yeah, but that was just, it was really uncomfortable.
It was weird and uncomfortable, and that was funny, and that was more in line with the tone of the first two movies.
But I could not enjoy that because I was so confused.
Because it was so out of place with the rest of the movie.
Out of place.
The stuff that was the best in this movie was the stuff that was weird and out of place and bizarre and funny, because those were more in line with the original two movies. The rest of the movie, which was the bulk of it that you kind of settle into with the whole movie, is so unlike the other two movies.
And that was the part that I liked, oddly. I'm on the other side where it was like...
Which is fair.
So it's like you have all the comedy bits, Ray finds his, he's like pantsless, and he's, what's his face? Rasputin's gonna be like, I'm gonna heal your leg. You have a wound. And then he's doing it. And then he's doing a dance. How you doing? And while he's fighting everybody, I'm like, okay, yeah. So I'm supposed to enjoy this because this is like you said, this is more Kingsman. But it's like I can't. I'm so confused. I thought I was in this other movie, and then after all that, it was like, well, so now that you've learned your lesson, now you have to go back to being a pacifist, and so do you. And then the kid was like, well, it's his birthday, right? Mm-hmm. Turns 18, I guess. So
19.
19, so he can enlist now. And so it's like, well, I'm going to go to war anyway. Okay. And
I condone it.
Yeah, and then so we go to 1917. And I think, for me anyway, was the
Which
best
was
part.
Great.
For me, it was a very, very good part. He goes to war. It's that night scene, that fight scene where
that was so cool.
They go up over the trenches in the middle of the night. The other side, the Germans come over.
Which that was very Kingsman too. But that was the one that worked. That was the one that worked tonally really in context. That's the thing. All of the parts did not work contextually.
All the parts individually, like episodically, were great.
Yes.
This should have been a miniseries.
Yes.
See, that would have been
absolutely
good. Because they all have beginning, middle, and end. And you're running... So then they're like, well, hey, we can't shoot our guns because they're in no man's land. Then you have both sides of the trenches. And they're like, if we shoot our guns, if they shoot their guns, they're all going to get shot. And they have this badass fight, knife fight thing. It's almost a little bit like Mad Max going on. The guy's got like kind of weird armor going on.
Oh yeah.
He's got like a pike. He's like he's like this pike that comes out,
which was an actual weapon that the Germans used.
I didn't know that. Yeah. That was a real thing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They called it like a trench spike or something like that, or trench pike or something like that. No, yeah. It was all of that was real. Guys walking around with sledgehammers. That happened.
So this was, I kind of figured, this was based on
the
real...
The 25 minute short film in the middle of this movie
yeah, right?
was very accurate to what World War I was like.
I was going to say, it felt like pretty much every other film that tried to be historically accurate.
And then they kill him at the end.
They kill his son, which...
We gotta give Ralph Fiennes motivation. He had motivation! Why do we kill the second biggest character in the movie? He was cool.
Yeah, you think you're setting up the son...
2/3 of the way through the movie!
You think you're setting up the son, and then they kill him because it's like, you're a spy! You're not who we thought you were. He had actually, at one point, traded places with another guy.
Yeah.
The actor actually played Kick-Ass in Kick-Ass. So he trades places with him and sends him home. That's like... Because what happens is Ralph Fiennes knows a lot of higher-up people, and I was like, hey, I don't want my son to... They're like, we won't put your son in harm's way. We'll make sure that he goes and sits at a desk somewhere, or bring him home, or something like that.
Yeah, even the king gets involved.
Yeah, so the kid plays a joke and sends another guy home instead. So then the other guy in the trench is like, you're not so-and-so! You're a spy! And just shoots him, and then he's dead. And then we get the rest of the movie.
It was super anticlimactic, too. It was one of those instances where you're killing a character for shock value. Like, yes, it did progress the plot along, but it was like, it felt pointless. It was a moment where it takes you completely out of the movie, and you go, well, why'd they do that? Where you have a character like, a super neckbeard moment here, killing off Obi-Wan in A New Hope. That
made sense.
The turning point.
Yeah.
That gives Luke motivation. This was just like, it takes you out of the movie. You're like, well, why? Why? It didn't have gravitas. It didn't have you don't feel hollow afterwards. You just feel cheated.
You feel confused.
He was a great character. You feel confused and cheated, and you're like, well, what the hell?
That's the thing. After the episode where they're fighting Rasputin, I feel confused. At the end of the battle of the 1917 war movie, I feel confused. And then after that, you go home. Now Ralph Fiennes is drinking himself to death. His friend, which by the way, meanwhile, they've already kind of created Kingsman, because he has the network of all the servants and butlers and whatever sending him information from all over the world. Which fine, whatever. And then they find out I don't even remember, but they find out at the end that, one of the bad guys in the White House, right? There was an assassin there, it was a woman, and... Yeah,
one of the bad guys' bitches, Blue Woodrow Wilson. and they got it on tape, and they're
yeah. So
this is the alternate history of why Woodrow Wilson was so hesitant to enter into World War I. Because
there was a lot of accuracy apparently in this film, but just satirized. Where,
It was they did the alternate reasonings for stuff.
Yeah, right.
Which instead of political, turmoil for Woodrow Wilson going like, I'm not going to enter in the war, he was like, oh well, that chick wearing red blew me and has it on video and it'll ruin my reputation.
Well, and I read some articles that the director, Matthew Vaughn, I think, he did like Layer Cake and Kick Ass and all that kind of stuff.
Layer Cake is right.
I have Kick Ass.
I saw Layer Cake earlier.
Right
there, yeah.
Yeah, Layer Cake.
And Snatch!
Layer Cake and Snatch, yeah. So, it's good stuff. What was I thinking of? Oh yeah, so he actually did a lot of research and found out, like I guess those two monarchs did make fun of the other guy's deformed hand and stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is all...
Kaiser Wilhelm, that was he was a spoiled brat that had the deformed hand, and he got this whole Napoleon complex over the whole thing, and it was literally a family squabble. It was three cousins.
Yeah. So
they even looked alike in real life. They even looked alike.
Which is why the actor, they just had that one actor play him all three times.
Play all three, yeah.
I can't remember his name. But he's the big bad in the Pirates of the Caribbean sequels, and he's in Pride and Prejudice. Did you see that one with Keira Knightley's in that one?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's great, and it's historically fairly accurate. Even the assassination of
just happened to go down the wrong alley.
Yeah. It literally happened. Guy survived an attempted bombing, which failed. The guy went to drink at a bar, and
eating a sandwich. Right,
the Archduke just happened to drive by and went down an alley, and he just went, "Oh well, crap!
All right,
here we are," and shot him.
It's morbidly.
It goes to show even that sometimes reality is stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
World War I is a great example of that, where
it's still studied today.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that was a stupid thing to say. Can you believe the greatest war ever was still studied? Until there was the second time.
The sequel.
World
War II, Electric Boogaloo.
Which is a good segue that the director had said, maybe there'll be a sequel to Kingsman.
Hopefully it'll be better.
So is that going to be World War II on steroids? I don't know.
I'd be game for that. Trying to kill Hitler?
They kind of...
Come on!
I mean, well, they did. They got away with it. They got away with it in Glorious Bastards, which...
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of that movie.
I like it. Here's the thing. You can never go wrong with a movie where you're trying to kill Hitler.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Arguably one of the most evil people that's ever existed. You can make a movie about killing Hitler. This movie had some funny moments. It had some fun fight scenes. At the end, there was a fight scene that was really cool where you're like the camera was in the sword. That was very Kingsman, and that was great. Yeah, the moments where this movie was Kingsman were phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't have a problem necessarily with any one scene or section of the movie. I mean, like, the sword fight at the end was fantastic.
The high points of this movie were great, but the lows were so low and so tonally different from the other movies.
It was that you felt confused, like I keep saying, and I'm like, it keeps taking you out and then throwing you back in. And
well, like I said, it felt like this movie was written by 12-year-olds because it was, and even like when they're, like the swear words and stuff like that, it's always like, the whole movie comes to a screaming halt so they can say the F word.
Yeah.
Like it felt like kids who just learned how to swear.
It was out of place.
It was out of place. Some of the jokes were really on the nose.
Yeah, I mean,
like some of the stuff with Rasputin, which I adored all of the stuff with Rasputin because he was such a horrible, greasy villain. And I loved hating that character, and I wish that he was the big bad for the whole film.
The Lizard Man played him.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but was he in Harry Potter at all?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
But he plays a great bad guy.
Yeah, it was great.
And he was a great Rasputin, and Rasputin was a fun character. He was horrible and gross and disgusting and
weird,
vile, and
put
vulgar.
everybody on drugs,
and he was just very brash.
And then he wasn't the big bad.
And then he wasn't. Yeah, then he was just a pawn.
The big bad was some guy.
The big bad was just a Scottish dude that liked swearing poorly.
He was just a Scottish dude that, yeah, it just all fell flat. Which actually, going back to why I had to remember why he ends up with. Okay, so he gets the assassin that was blowing Wilson. He defeats that assassin woman, gets a scarf made out of cashmere. And then they goes to Kingsman, which is the tailor shop, which makes great, it's wonderful clothes, fantastic clothes.
The guy pulls
so yeah. So let me explain real quick. He goes up to the counter and says, "Hey, where was this made?" So then he goes, "Well, let's find the cashmere book." And then what happens?
It says here that type of cashmere is made from one certain type of goat that exists on this one mountain in this one place, and that's the only place you'll find it.
There was an illustration!
Good luck getting up there!
There was an illustration in the book.
Which,
oh, sure. Cool. Sure.
Yeah. How old is this book?
How old is that book? It's vastly more interesting than Kingsman, actually.
Much more interesting.
I didn't hate Kingsman. I was just extremely overwhelmed.
I did.
Underwhelmed, rather.
I hated it.
He hated it. I enjoyed a lot of it.
I think that I hated the frustration that the movie caused more than I hated the movie.
Because, again, like I'm saying, the individual episodes were pretty great. But, so anyway, he sees the illustration.
1905.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. That's older than the, that'd be right around the time Kingsman happened. It was like 1917 or something like that. 1918.
Oh, wait, maybe not. Yeah, I think 1905. No, 1908.
1908.
Yeah, I think 1908.
1908. So, they go, this is where the cashmere came from, on this cliff. Okay. So then they go and they do the third act battle, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, beware the bald Scottish man wearing plaid trews.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, some of the tongue-in-cheek stuff is pretty funny. Like, of course he's wearing, I'm wearing me black watch pants made out of, plaid and whatever. And it's like, yeah.
Which, me being a kilt fan, there was a lot of kilts in the movie. It was fun.
Insert pictures of Brad. What you trying to say?
The villain was literally like the type of villain that, like, okay, we're going to have the Scottish guy who is going to be the most stereotypically offensive Scottish stereotype.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is like, right. You're going to do a little bit of bleeping here in editing, but it's like he literally would just be like, and the whole movie comes to a screaming halt every time he swears, and it was not, if you're going to put swearing in a movie, I have no problem with swearing in a movie. I swear a lot.
Yeah.
Do it tastefully. Make it conversational. Make it feel real.
To be fair, that was what a lot of the controversy in the second Kingsman was about, was that it was a little too obnoxious or raunchy, specifically the one scene where everyone had a problem with, which I thought was fine, I don't care. But it was like, everyone... And so that became a marketing point. It's naughty, it's raunchy, it's disgusting, go watch it now, and it's like, okay, fine. But that was just annoyingly obnoxious, I guess. I don't know.
It took you out of the movie. You're like, what like I said, it felt like 12-year-olds.
If you want to have a cartoon villain like Bond always has, fine. But that was just, like, annoying.
He was annoying, yeah.
And not in a good way. Not in the way where you love to hate him. You love to hate the villain.
Yeah, I just hated him.
He just hated...
I was just like...
Get off the screen.
All of the people that played, like, because it's...
But he's a great actor, though.
Yeah, which was even more disappointing, because it was like he's supposed to be this...
a good guy.
This Machiavellian, playing all the...
Yeah.
Pulling all the strings, and all of his pawns and puppets were so much cooler and more interesting than he was.
You're right. Yeah, he's actually the one, supposedly, in this alternate reality... This alternate history. He's the one that actually started World War I.
Yeah, he's the one that got running this cabal.
All the evil people together throughout history.
Because he's Scottish and he's pissed that England
he's pissed
is
at England. The whole point is, so in this alternate history, the whole point was to destroy England! We're gonna destroy him if not be a bloody planet! The Kashmir! Look at me pants!
You know Rasputin, you remind me a lot of my favourite goat named Angus over here. Then he kills the goat to make a point. It was like...
The goats.
That was so stupid. Oh, did you get that point that I killed this goat that you remind me of? And it was like... Dude, like,
I believe...
Show Rasputin more. I hate this guy.
Here's how I would say, in terms of recommendation for this movie...
Don't see it. Don't give them your money. It's disappointing, and I will hate you if you see it. I hate myself for seeing it.
It might be... This movie might be bombing, I'm not sure. I mean, it's unfortunate...
God, I hope it is! That's 2 hours of my life I want back.
I don't know. See, this is kind of the... it's not an endorsement when... I believe there were a couple of kids. They must have been, I don't know, teenagers or something. They actually... they didn't break in. They snuck in, like, towards the end and sat in the seats next to us over here on the...
And then they got up and left! Because it's trash!
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
This movie is trash. And spend your money on better movies.
Go watch A Nightmare Alley.
You know what? Instead of watching Nightmare Alley and watching Kingsman, watch Nightmare Alley twice. God knows that movie deserves it. This one did not.
Go see that movie. So...
No, The Kingsman, I do not recommend it at all. Especially if you're a fan of the first two. This movie just was... It was frustrating.
It doesn't...
I'm making a big... Like, I'm playing it up like I'm enraged. I was so...
You were pretty upset.
I was irate when we left.
Which was...
Like, you haven't seen me that angry walking out of a movie since we saw Cats.
Well, actually, I think... Mortal Kombat. Maybe.
You're correct. Mortal Kombat, I was also
You always
irate.
go back to Cats. I don't remember...
Because that movie was so bad.
We went because we knew it was bad. We had to see...
That movie's so bad, I want to see it again. Just because I got all of my cardio for the year just seeing that movie, and like my heart pumping because I was so mad. My heart was pumping so hard. I felt healthier after leaving that movie because I had pumped so much blood through my body. I'm pretty sure that movie gave me a kidney stone.
The Kingsmen.